how do you take Freddie Prinze Jr.'s pal who works at Disney, who said, and I quote, ESPN, by the way, is so unhappy with the deal. I was talking to a friend of mine who works for Disney, and he was just like, yo, they better make their money back on this deal. Like he said, they're hot. Guys, we need to buy more PLEs, end quote. So Freddie Prinze Jr., who briefly worked for WWE and has been in and around wrestling for a while, and he's got his Wrestling with Freddie podcast, claims that he has a friend at Disney who says that ESPN, the rumblings inside ESPN is they're not thrilled with this WWE deal right now, which we kind of felt was the case just by reading the tea leaves and the general feeling around it. No press releases touting how any of the shows have done so far, which is very ominous from ESPN, as we've discussed a million times.
Yeah,
They'll
they
put
love
out a
shouting.
press release for anything.
Yeah.
And they've done nothing for this. Sean Ross Sapp reached out to WWE and ESPN separately. ESPN's rep told them that he hadn't heard any negative chatter, or they haven't heard any negative chatter, and are happy with the partnership. It just says a rep. I'm assuming that's a PR rep, but it may not necessarily be. It could be some contact at ESPN. And a, quote, WWE rep reached out and said, and again, I don't know if this is a PR rep or someone in the office, and that does make a difference. That, quote, no one in WWE upper management is aware of Freddie Prinze's role in wrestling or otherwise. And I don't even know what that quote means.
It's a dismissive, who the fuck is that guy quote is what that is. But that doesn't answer the question. That doesn't respond to what the guy is saying. It doesn't matter who the guy is.
Here's the thing. I understand why Sean reached out to ESPN and WWE. That's his job. I understand why he passed along exactly what these reps told him. Again, that's his job. But as media consumers, we know that these answers that they gave are essentially meaningless, because we know that neither of these entities are going to have anyone that's going to turn around and say, oh, yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, we hate this deal.
This deal's a fucking bomb. Nobody's paying for this thing. No one's watching them. It's a disaster. ESPN, they're on our asses. No one from ESPN is going to say, oh, yeah, it's awful. Yeah, I talked to the same guy, Freddie. No, it's like, you're going to get denials. So there's not a lot of value in what they're going to say. It doesn't mean you don't ask. It doesn't mean you pass it along. Who I'm more annoyed with is SI, or the husk of what used to be SI. Because we all know it's not Legacy Sports Illustrated.
No.
But what they did is they aggregated these two quotes that Fightful got. And they framed it in a way, they didn't frame it. They literally said that the quotes were refuting what Freddie Prinze's source had told Prinze. But there's no refuting here. These are just contradictory quotes, probably from PR reps whose job it is to snuff this kind of thing out. What was refuted? What was proven wrong? Nothing. What does Freddie Prinze Jr. have to gain by making up a quote like that? I am 100% certain that he knows someone who works for Disney who told him exactly what he relayed on his podcast.
Absolutely. Because why would he?
Why would he make that up?
What is the benefit to Freddie Prinze Jr. to lie about that?
Zero. There's no benefit. None. And none of that was refuted. But the way that SI framed their headline and their article was they couldn't wait to defend the honor of Daddy WWE. It's sickening. It's sickening. Who's the guy who wrote that? I want the guy's name who wrote that.
Yeah, I don't know specifically. I could try to figure that out for you.
Rich.
Oh, yeah. Uchino or something like that.
Let's make sure that's the guy. I don't want to bury the wrong guy, but I mean, what kind of work is that? First of all, what are you aggregating that for? The aggregation is so pathetic.
It's very bad.
I don't want to go on my aggregation rant again. But these are nothing quotes. And I know people are going to go running to Sean and tattletale. I'm not even knocking Sean. Sean did his job, but these are nothing quotes. These are the quotes you would expect to get back from PR reps or whoever these people are, because they're not going to agree with whoever talked to Freddie Prinze for obvious reasons.
Ooh, I didn't
There's
even
no
realize
need to aggregate this shit.
The subtitle of this article, I didn't even notice this. So it is Rich Ucchino.
Yeah, go ahead.
The headline is New Report Refutes Freddie Prinze Jr.'s WWE ESPN deal claim. The subhead of it, though, is very interesting. It says, quote, WWE and ESPN haven't even gotten to WrestleMania season, and there are claims being made that the broadcast agreement is on the rocks. That is a lot of editorializing.
A lot of editorializing and a lot of very soft as fucking bread defense of TKO. For what reason? Do you work for TKO? I mean, they couldn't publish something fast enough to try to make people think that whoever was talking to Freddie Prinze Jr. is full of shit. They couldn't do it fast enough and frame it in more of a way that makes it look like horseshit. And that's what really bothers you as a consumer of the news. I mean, these people cannot wait to jump in front of and shield WWE from any criticism whatsoever.
Here's the other part, too. WWE and ESPN are only 3 events into their 5-year, $1.6 billion deal, with their next broadcast a little less than 2 months away. So you can't...
Rich, do you work for him, Rich?
Yeah, I know. I don't.
I mean, not you, the other Rich.
Oh, that Rich. Yeah, but I definitely don't. But you cannot like a deal 3 events into a 5-year, $1.6 billion... Like, Fox... How quickly was Lachlan Murdoch dogging on WWE? I mean, that was a couple months in. He was already like, I don't know, this thing's not really working very well.
Guys,
it's insane.
Guys, NBC canceled XFL after the second week.
Yeah. Right.
You could be unhappy with a deal immediately. You could be unhappy with a deal after show number 1.
Right.
So, I just, what do you expect from wrestling media? What do you expect?
Well, I thought the most damning quote there was the WWE rep that, and I don't know that Sean really pushed back on it, and I know this Rich Ucchino guy didn't really push back on it, is no one in WWE upper management is aware of Freddie Prinze's role in wrestling or otherwise. That's a completely irrelevant quote. That should not... That's one where that doesn't get republished because that's...
Why doesn't Rich Ucchino editorialize that quote?
Yeah, and say, well, he used to work for the company and he hosts a podcast.
On that?
And also, this doesn't mean that he's incorrect. What the WWE source said is basically, who the fuck is that guy?
Right.
But that doesn't mean you're right or wrong, because say you, Joe, have a source at ESPN. Say you have say for some fucking reason you and the head of ESPN programming are best buds, or you go to the same grocery store or whatever, and you talk to him and he said, hey, that WWE deal fucking sucks. You can still have good information even if, like, you're not, oh, that guy's not a top journalist, so what the fuck does he know? Well, if he has a source and the source is concrete, it doesn't matter who that person is. But also, Freddie Prinze Jr. Worked for your company. I just find that quote very weird, because that's basically them saying, we're not going to tell you whether he's right or wrong, but who the fuck is that guy? We don't even know what he does.
It was actually the opposite of refuting it.
Exactly.
Refute it at all.
So if I was a journalist, I would say, well, why did they not answer? Why did they not say our partners in ESPN are tremendously happy? Or all we've heard from our partners in ESPN is that they're tremendously happy with the deal. They didn't say that. They said, who the fuck is Freddie Prinze Jr.? Fuck that guy, is their quote. That to me we always say non-answers are answers too. That's a non-answer.
It's a non-answer.
And I would like to follow up a little bit more and say, so are you confident that ESPN is happy with this deal so far?
And maybe Sean did and he didn't answer him back.
Maybe.
But the SI article, he makes a bevy of excuses for why ESPN wouldn't be upset with the deal.
Because it's new.
We're 3 months in. We haven't gotten to WrestleMania. It's new. Here's all the reasons why this is probably bullshit. But he doesn't give any background or any editorializing on that really empty, vapid, and evasive quote. It's an evasive quote is what it is. It's focus on the fact that Freddie Prinze Jr. is nobody and ignore the content of what Freddie Prinze Jr. had to say.
Right.
It's evasive.
WrestlePalooza was a massive show. They brought back Brock Lesnar.
Massive show.
For that show. They promoted the fuck out of WrestlePalooza.
I'm sure I
can find a Rich Ucchino article where he talks about how it's the new WrestleMania. It's another WrestleMania. But now it's like, come on. It's after. They haven't had any shows. They haven't had any shows yet. No shows. Like,
they promoted the fuck out of Survivor Series all weekend long.
Right.
They have Arda Ocal doing Sports Center spots in the lead up to all these shows.
They haven't had any shows yet. Mania's coming. Come on, you can't judge them on this.
SI's role here shouldn't be to just openly and blatantly defend WWE from this criticism, but that's the role that the majority of the wrestling media takes: defend WWE at all costs from any criticism. I mean, either just do your straight aggregation, which is the bottom level of media, just be an aggregator and just aggregate the facts. But if you're going to editorialize like we always say they should do, this is an awful job of it.
Right. You editorialize by adding context to the quotes, not just throwing in needless, like you're not what you're supposed to do is say, despite, Freddie Prinze Jr., despite the fact that WWE says that he's nobody or nothing, like he's a former employee and here's this sort of stuff or whatever.
Right.
And yes, WWE is new to this deal or whatever, but, you cannot like a deal. There's ways to approach the editorializing.
Or how about we haven't seen any numbers in the form of a press release or anything else.
Conspicuous by its absence are any press releases. And instead it's like, I'm sure they're fine with it. Like the editorializing is just like without any sort of basis in facts or reality.
He's defending the company like it's his little sister is what he's doing.
And you don't have to do that.
And we see that so often with these guys because they're devoted fans is what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's weird.
It bothered him that Freddie Prinze said that. And once he had something he could aggregate where he can step on a fucking soapbox, he took the opportunity to do so. For whatever reason you want to conjure up. A lot of people go even further and they say, they want to retain relationships with WWE. I think a lot of times that's going too far with it. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I just think these people grew up as fans and they're emotionally devoted to the product and they just have this compulsion to defend it. I think that's what it is.